Hello, my name is Pini Reznik. I'm CEO and co-founder of Rethinking, and today I'm going to talk about the waves of innovation, or about AI native, and what does it mean for us in software development. So this story is based on cloud native transformation book that I wrote about 5-6 years ago, and the next book I'm working on right now, which is about the next wave of innovation, which is AI native. Now, when I started my journey in software in end of 90s, everything was waterfall and monolithic. And actually, that was the most appropriate way to solve the problems of that period of time. So we would ship the CD-ROMs once every 6 or 12 months, and the whole idea was to plan and prepare for that shipment to deliver it in the best possible way, in perfect way, hopefully. So that defined the monolithic architecture of one thing sent to the customer, and then that defined centralized approach, a lot of planning, and due to Conway's law, the architecture that defines the team structure, it also defined hierarchical way of building and managing teams. And that was the most appropriate way for that period. As my career progressed from the internet bubble, we had different requirements. Basically, we shifted away from sending the CD-ROM once 6 months towards building internet to online systems. And through Agile Manifesto and iterative development and Docker containers and Kubernetes later, that all led to a new way of building software, which is cloud native. The original definition was containers, microservices, and dynamic orchestration, Kubernetes, but also all kind of other things like immutable infrastructure, APIs, CI/CD, DevOps, team topologies, and everything else. So essentially, the goal shifted from monolithic piece of software into uh, horizontally scalable, large scale systems that serving instead of hundreds of thousands of people, serving millions and billions of people. And what's important is that this architectural change moved or pushed us away from hierarchical and centralized management into more decentralized and horizontally scalable architecture, which also led to change in organizational structure. And that is a definition of transformational change, when the architecture leads to change in organization, and that is basically requires change of the entire organization, which leads to transformational change. And this is exactly what we were talking about in the first book, that there is a right way to do transformation, which is starting small, starting from research first and to prepare, and then going through development of MVP, onboarding on few teams first, and then scale to the rest of the organization, and then eventually achieving maturity and later on decline. So, and what we also saw in the last 2 decades of doing this is that the only culture that actually allows us to achieve maturity, absolute perfect maturity, where we are effective and efficient and happy, is the culture that is obsessed with quality of our software. That also allows us to actually build better things, deliver them faster, and have happier employees. The other cultures that are obsessing with features delivery or bureaucracy, they typically lead to much poorer results. So eventually, the quality is the only way to achieve best results. And to achieve that, what we recognize, and that's the heart of the new book, is that there are 6 ways of operating in this environment. Pioneering is the research, is the skunkworks style independent team working in sandbox, researching crazy ideas. And once we decide to adopt those crazy ideas, then we bootstrap the new project small MVP first in a small team, connect it or bridging it to existing legacy. And then once that is ready, then we are ready to onboard a few more teams, and then we scale towards the rest of the organization. And eventually, when the transformation is finished, we enter the mature space where we are continuously optimizing the existing systems. And then the innovation becomes incremental and not radical. So, and there's sort of, this is timelines on these things. So pioneering is it needs to be done without affecting the existing wave. So it's about the next wave of innovation, and then bootstrapping, scaling. And those modes of operation overlap, but it's very important to manage the teams according to this, or the transformations often go wrong. And we know very well how an effective a mature cloud native system looks like: a system with full self-service and great internal development platforms, great team topology structure, something similar, and the culture that is positive, collaborative, and obsessed with continuous improvement. We also know how not so successful teams look like. Recently in the KubeCon, in last KubeCon, we had this session of drawing the problems on a napkin. And it's very consistent that people are not finishing their transformation. So they're not treating the cloud native as transformational change, or they're stopping before they achieve full maturity, and they're not focusing on quality, but on actually uh, rules or features or whatever else. So actually, it never achieves the greatness that it's supposed to. And of course, this is just the beginning, right? So cloud native was just the last innovation, which is not finished yet, and the new one is coming, which is AI native. Now, and we can expect AI to achieve dramatic changes in the way we build software, but also in the way we deliver software products or any products. So we expect a lot more personalization, a lot more automation or independent machines doing work that humans would be doing. Um, and hopefully we can manage the ethics and the safety of those AI systems. But there is a lot of talking about how AI systems will look like, but there is also impact on the software development process. So we expect AI coding assistants and deployment tools that are fully automated and independent. Um, so all kind of self-healing systems, and so eventually a lot of technical work will be replaced by AI automated systems. Now, what we see is that a lot of companies want to move to AI, but we see the same mistakes that they have done in transition to cloud native. So, for example, these three stories, those are real stories without uh, talking about specific companies. But one is a pressure from the top, from the CEO, from the board to buy AI tools to replace existing people. And we do see that uh, if cloud native transformation was very technical, bottom up, we do see that AI native transformation is actually happening more top down, and the engineers are quite resistant and or conservative in a way, or suspicious. There's a bit of lack of trust, while the executives typically want to just reduce cost or use it to build better products. But basically, this idea of pressure from the top to buy AI tool to replace existing people, this is unlikely to be successful. It's more likely that AI will help those people to achieve better results faster. Another way to do it wrong is to say we will just outsource AI to some external consultancy and we will use it for cost reduction. This is not going to work because cost reduction is unlikely to work due to Jevons paradox. So once something becomes cheaper, we do more of that, and then we actually spend more of it, which is exactly what happened with public cloud. But also, this is a beginning of the wave. This is the time to learn and experiment, not to outsource it to somebody else. It's essential that we as a company use this beginning of the wave to actually invest in research and learning. And the last one is we see on more technical side in internal development or platform teams, we see people are saying we will use AI to improve existing or to fix existing problems related to documentation or deployments or observability. And again, AI is a sort of automation. It can help a lot. But actually, if your systems are not very good, then it will scale them or it will make them faster and bigger, but it cannot really dramatically improve them until they're actually working well. So actually, it's important to improve the quality of your existing systems before you dive into AI. So um, these are different ways, but similar problems we have seen, or similar ways that people didn't do the cloud native transformation successfully. So, and generally, AI native is going to change the architecture. Now, we don't yet know exactly how, right? Because AI is just in the beginning. It's the same thing as in 2013 or 14 when Docker came up. We didn't fully understand how a mature cloud native system will look like eventually. Today, we do understand this, that it took a decade. So we do see that AI native is data centric, and it's about continuous improvement, and it's about operations, and code writing is done by AI. And we already see in the Dora report released by Google that AI improves quality of code. Of course, people are arguing about that, and it's not happening everywhere, but it is easier and faster to write code, and we see that the direction is that. Uh, Although we will continue building in the beginning similar type of AI system. So this is an example of reference architecture for a typical AI system. This is not very different from cloud native architecture, but it's just new set of tools. That's how it starts in the beginning. But eventually, what we will see is that there will be a reversal of the bottleneck. Uh, so, if in the cloud native space, actually in the waterfall space, the bottleneck was all about delivery, right? It's about this doing this CD-ROM once every 6 to 12 months. So it was all about planning to do it perfectly well. In cloud native, the bottleneck is actual coding, writing code, testing it, and delivering. So we invest in iterations to get faster feedback, so we can write code faster and more efficiently, and with less mistakes. Now, with AI native, what we will see is that the human creativity will be the bottleneck, and we will need to figure out how to help humans to experiment with more ideas faster. But generally speaking, um, there will be sort of reversal of the time that requires uh, to think and plan versus actually build the systems. So if today we spend maybe 20 or 30% planning and then 70-80% actually building software, AI will reverse that. So building software and deploying it and managing large software systems will be easy and fast because AI will do it for us. And I'm not talking about the next few months or maybe even a year or two, but eventually AI will take over of the boring work. So we will need to figure out how to structure the teams and the architecture so we will be able to actually effectively build software in this new world where we don't need to spend all our time writing code. And said that, actually looking into today's Dora report, what we find paradoxically, actually, AI helps us to reduce the time we spend on valuable work, and it doesn't reduce the time on the toil, which is sort of weird because we were promised that AI will actually eliminate the toil and allow us to focus on the value creation. But it looks like probably because we are prioritizing valuable work first, so that's where we put AI. So we're still in the beginning of this journey, and there's still a lot of uncertainty. But this is definitely something that is going to bring the value, but we don't know yet how. So, and then sort of the last part is what can I do now to prepare for this change and to make sure that I'm actually going into AI native space and perfectly prepared. So first is this is the time to explore and research, right? And then once you know what you're doing and you have a great business case, then we go big and scale. So What we do now is basically establish small labs team or skunk works that helps us to learn and experiment, build POC, answer different questions, difficult questions, and learn about what we're doing. It's important to build trust between people and the technology. So we need to people to talk about the technology, about AI, and it's also very important to continue investing in existing technologies, cloud native, to make them stable and mature, because that's where the real value still comes from. And I'd say thank you for attention, and please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.